Here we go. Just a little bit faster. That's perfect. Hey everyone, welcome to Threadbanger Project's Earth Day Special. To save a little bit of energy this week, we decided to power the entire episode by bicycle. So if Rob stops, the show stops.
As you know, bicycles are some of the most efficient and eco-friendly forms of transportation. So this week, to help celebrate, we have our friends over at Rocks and Salt Design show us how to make a cycling cap. Corinne, just let me know when you want to switch.
Yeah, sure thing.
Hey there, I'm Phil.
And I'm Sarah.
Together we're Rocks and Salt. You know, we got started, I guess about 3 or 4 years ago. Started making hats as we were trying to get out of cooking. We were both natural foods cooks. We basically do 2 seasons, a spring, summer, and a fall, winter. Today we're going to show you how to make your own cycling cap. First thing you're going to need is your material. Sarah found an old skirt. We're going to start by measuring, chalking our pattern pieces. First thing you want to do is be looking at the wrong side of your material. Since I want 2 pieces that are the same, I'm just going to fold this over so I can cut them both at the same time. The length of our bands is going to be 23 3/4 inches. I can go ahead and chalk my line, 23 3/4. I'm going to go ahead and mark that 1.5. 1.5 on the other end so that we can finish chalking this band. Once you have your rectangle chalked out, time to cut it. Our second pattern piece is going to be the shape of a circle. We came up with a brilliant way to make a circle. I'm just going to take our circle and now fold it in half. As we're going to need 2 equal pieces of this pattern piece as well, I'm going to take my material again and just fold it in half. At this point, you can use any handy thing to hold your pattern piece in place, because what we want to do is add 1/2 inch to the bottom of each side of this half circle. Now we've got our second piece. This third pattern piece is definitely the most tricky. What I want to do is start with a straight line that measures 11.5 inches long. I want to go ahead and give myself a little indication of where the center of 11.5 inches is, which is 5 3/4. On each end of this measurement, we're going to draw a perpendicular line. The first one is going to be 3.5 inches long, 1 3/4 inches on each side. The second one is going to be a bit longer. It's going to be 3 1/4 inches on each side, equaling 6.5. Now you want to just connect these lines. The last line to measure and draw on this guy, one line in the center, measuring 1 7/8 on each side. Now we get to have a little fun and just do some freestyle drawing. We want to put a nice little arc all the way in this baby. And from here to this corner is almost a straight line. So for one of the last steps of this piece, I'm going to give myself a little marker here at 3/4 inch at the top of this long side of the pattern. And then I'm going to draw myself a nice little arc again. Now once you have this guy chalked out, you want to cut wide around this, leaving yourself enough room to continue to work. Fold this in half, cut the nice little arc I've drawn. This is our third pattern piece. For our last piece, we're going to measure a straight line that measures 7 3/4 inches. I'm going to give myself a little mark so that I can measure 2 inches out. And then we're going to get all freestyle again and draw an arc that will be our brim. Now you're going to need 2 of these, so I'll just use this one as a pattern piece. Now we have our 4 pieces. So for the very last cutting we're going to need to do, you grab your piece of trim and you want to measure that 16 inches. We can start sewing. Sarah.
Whoa, what's going on here?
This is ridiculous. I gotta take a break.
All right.
This week on WePCTV.
In the Dark Knight, Batman hacks into Gotham's cell phone network. To find the Joker, he uses sonar to create a virtual image of the city. Is it unethical to spy on citizens to find a killer?
The cleaning staff Windexing down the computer screens like, oh!
Excuse me, Mr. Batman.
Yes.
I come back later.
WePCTV is brought to you by ASUS and Intel. You dream it, ASUS builds it, Intel inside.
You're watching Threadbanger.
Corinne? Corinne? Time for you to bike.
So the first thing we're going to do with our pieces is take our long band piece and fold it together face to face. And we're going to be sewing all of our pieces together at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Next we want to iron them open. Here we go with the top stitch. 2 bands. Next thing we'll want to do is sew our brim together. We'll have our 2 pieces, which we're going to put once again face to face with our piece of trim on the inside. We'll want to iron our brim open. Now that we've got our brim ironed, we're just going to run a top stitch around the arc. So the next thing we're going to do, and this is going to be probably the trickiest part, is sew our side circles onto our centerpiece. This wider part is the front of our centerpiece. So we'll start sewing the side onto the center from the top corner, putting the circle facing down, everybody face to face. And we'll line these corners up and go. It's impossible to pin it, so we're gonna go freehand. If you have a little bit left over, that's fine. Just when you start your next piece, you'll start from the back and put it starting where the last one ended. This is the shape that you should have. We've almost got a hat. So the next thing we're going to do with it turned right side out is to iron the seam nice so that it's going toward the circle. We'll turn it inside out and we're going to run our top stitch right along here. Top stitch both sides on the circle side, and this is what it looks like. Next thing we're going to do is attach the band to the hat. We're going to start by taking the band and folding it from the back seam to the front. Still have a nice chalk line in the center of the front here on the inside. You can match it too. I'm now taking one of the bands, pinning it face to face to the hat. Now that we've got our band sewn on, we'll take another trip to the ironing board and just iron it. Turn it back inside out and we'll run another top stitch on that. We'll take our brim, fold it in half to find the center, and match our center creases together. So we'll want to just use a big basting stitch for this, do it super close to the edge. Then we'll take our second band that we've already sewn together and we just want to hem it down about a 1/4 inch or so. This is going to be our liner band. We're ready to sew our hat together. So we'll put it inside out and once again fold it in half from the back seam, our brim down and our hat right side out. We'll pin it right to the brim. After you've sewn your 2 bands together, we're ready to finish our ricing stripe. First thing we're going to want to do is get out our trusty seam ripper and make a little incision right here at the back. Next we'll need to pin our stripe down. I'll just slip the stripe right in the hole that we just made. So anytime you have loose threads, you just want to tie them off and pull them in. Close up the little hole that I made for this by stitching back over it, and then we're going to iron this inner band around to the inside and run a top stitch right around the whole hat.
Thanks for hanging out. For more, check us out at rocksandsaltdesign.com or
rocksandsalt.etsy.com.
happy cycling.
Well, that's it for this week.
Actually, no, it's not.
What? You kidding me?
So May is National Bike Month, and there's a lot of great green bike projects going on. Be sure to check out rockthebike.com for some awesome sites and links. Like the band Ginger Ninjas that traveled 5,000 miles from their home in Northern California to the pyramids of southern Mexico, all on bike. And then there's Fossil Fool, the bike rapper that takes his custom-made Soul Cycle to the streets of San Francisco to not only party, but to spread the sustainable word. There are also a plethora of ways for you to deck out your bike DIY style. Check the Threadbanger blog for our favorites. And that's it for this week.
You sure about that?
Be sure to leave a comment below and tell us what you're doing to help out the Earth this year.
Is it over now? All right. We'll see you next week.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Done.
All right, we're done. On with the bike.
Awesome. Thanks, James.
Thanks for being our support. Literally.
I was like, Rob, how are you gonna hold the bike up?
This would be awesome.